It all starts with a spark. It all starts with a spark. Like this thought or this vision in your head that gives you these ideas. And our stories, our voice, our history hasn't always been welcomed. But we learned long ago that if America won't celebrate us, then we will celebrate our own, told our way.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us with AAMBC Inc.'s author interviews. Thank you for joining the conversation. Today, we are talking with Sarah Carmel McGriff. She is an amazing fiction author. She has written an amazing book called Mind Under Troubled Waters. And it touches on topics such as mental health, youth empowerment. It goes into the mind of a young sports player, young athlete. And we are so happy to have her here to talk to you guys about it and her journey. So thank
Thank
you,
you.
Sarah. Please let us know, who you are, what you do, and just tell us a little bit about your book.
First of all, thank you for having me on. I am so excited and blessed to be a part of this movement. So my book, Mind on the Troubled Waters, as Brittney said, it goes into the mind of a 17-year-old basketball player who is suffering from mental illness. And the thing about mental illness is that unfortunately it's still a stigma in the Black community to this day in the year 2021. And I wrote this book because I would love to just break that stigma. I mean, it's important for us to talk about mental illness in the Black community, how it affects, and especially how it affects our teenagers. But I also go into my book about, other taboos that affect the Black community, like incest, rape, just family secrets that we tend to harbor amongst ourselves instead of, just coming together or, reporting these types of abuses, especially towards our children. And I know a lot of people have been tuned into, things, recently like the R. Kelly saga and other stuff. And my book just pretty much touches on that kind of thing. That is happening, and unfortunately, it's not being spoken about, or it's being pushed to the side in our community. So it's important for me as a nurse, working with our people and being out there in the community to let people know that you don't have to suffer in silence. You don't have to harbor, rapists in your family or just, close friends, period. You need to speak up and you need to encourage encourage each other to get past this and be an advocate not only for yourselves but for others who are not able to speak for themselves.
Gotcha. And that makes a lot of sense. I'm really, I do want to commend you too, just for bringing your expertise as a nurse into this and really, honing in on this topic because you do get to see the firsthand, what people who struggle with mental health issues, especially when it goes untreated or unnoticed, what they go through. Can you tell me a little bit about why you chose to um, um, draft your story surrounding a student athlete or around a youth athlete? I like that category, and I think that it's a very high energy topic because it's very common and relatable. But I wanted to get your personal take on what inspired your choice for your main character.
Well, I had an encounter working in the hospital with a patient, African male, 19 years old. He had just been diagnosed with end stage renal disease, and he actually had attempted to commit suicide a couple of times, but he did not have the outreach, or he did not have the community help. He did not have the support of his parents or close friends. So he was brought into the hospital, on our floor, and with the situation surrounding his attempted to commit suicide. So I talked to this young man even more, and it's just, no, he really was not ever explained what end stage renal disease was, how it was going to affect the rest of his life. He did not have any understanding that they may have been other options to always. He didn't understand, the whole situation. I'm sorry. He didn't understand the entire, disease process. No one ever explained to him. He didn't have the support of people like him that look like him in the hospital settings. And, unfortunately, being a nurse myself, we don't have a lot of people that represent us as healthcare professionals in the hospital, as sometimes as African American men and women, our struggles, both physically and mentally, are just passed along, and they're not addressed properly. And so that was my reasoning for wanting to, you know, turn that situation into a book, so that not only so that our youth can understand what's going on with themselves, and just try to seek the help that they need, but we also need the support of our community, our adults, our leaders.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely understand that. And just with that being said, what do you think about the power of fiction stories, fiction novels that are written around real life concepts? What do you think about that power and that it has to a reader and to just the general public?
Well, fiction stories is important because we need an outlet from reality, especially children especially teenagers. There's those hormones are raging. There's just so much stuff that they're influenced by in this world, and so much pressure on them to achieve certain things and to be a part of this group, or to want to belong to other people, and they're just pretty much trying to find their identity. So sometimes it's okay to escape out of reality and into a more fictional world, just so that you can take a break from all of that. So, and that's why I wrote this book. I wanted to fictionalize this, but I also wanted to definitely understand that this thing does happen in our community. It does occur.
Yes, I think that I think it's amazing when authors write stories, fiction stories about real life concepts, because it really also allows the reader to relate and to find pockets in the story that they can imagine as
Yes,
well. Yeah, that's the beauty about fiction, is that
yes,
there's room to change things in your mind. Sometimes when we read nonfiction books or books based on a true story, we're so intrigued, which I love true stories. Don't get me wrong. I love movies that are based on a true story.
hmm,
But I know personally, when I watch those movies or I read those books, it's almost like your mind can't imagine too far off from the script, because you know for a fact that it's a true story. So you want to
yes,
attach yourself to the story and accept it for what it is as true. But I think when you do what you did and take a real life concept that really does happen, that we really do struggle with, but turn it
yes,
into a fiction novel, people then have a little bit more freedom mentally for them to see themselves, and also just for them to fill in some of those gaps with things that relate to themselves. And I think overall, it gives us a more powerful, excuse the noise. It gives us a more powerful, I guess, position to make more of the book. So that's really great. Did you experience any writer's block, or did you have to take any breaks, like to kind of protect your energy around the story, because it is such a sensitive topic?
hmm, most definitely. I wrote this book mostly at night when, after I put my kids to sleep, because still working as a nurse during the day, it takes its toll. So, and that's pretty much why I got back into writing. Nursing, just working in the healthcare period, even before the pandemic started, it was just stressful itself. And so I wanted to get back into writing as an outlet. So that's what, that and the situation and the encounter with my patient, that's what really drove that, forced me to go back into writing. But I definitely experienced writer's block, because when you are when you're so into writing this book, there is an emotional side that um, it gets to you. Because you're reflecting back on what you've experienced that day with that patient, or even just what you're seeing in the world around you. And you're seeing children suffering. You're knowing that there's someone who's out here that's definitely not getting the help that they need. And as a nurse, I see this all the time working in the hospitals. Just people's voices are not being heard, especially African American male and females. I see it too much. I see doctors just overlooking or not taking people's conditions seriously. And they tell you not to take it personally, but you can't help but to take it personally, especially when you're seeing your own people suffer, because there are others who don't understand or who don't care to understand or reach out to people that don't look like them to help heal and nurture them. So I definitely experienced some writer's block. It took me a little longer than what I had originally set with my mentor to write the book, but once it all came together, everything happens for a reason, and I'm just blessed by that.
Yes, for sure, for sure. And I think too. I'm wondering if and I've read your book, so I know, but I don't want to give any spoilers for our viewers. It's an amazing,
Thank you.
amazing book. It's so just detailed and heartfelt. It's so
Thank
full
you.
of just so much color and so much, you know, imagery. There's some books that just don't have so much substance sometimes, and they leave a lot of room for you to fill in. But I think you did such a great job at just
Thank you.
painting that picture. And speaking of that, I have two questions for you. And one
Mhm.
is, can we find? I'll ask them separately. Can we find informational things in regards to mental health? Being as though you're a nurse, are there things that we can learn about mental illness and mental health awareness outside of just the storyline within your book? And can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, you can definitely find out, learn more about resources. There are so many resources on the internet. It's just so many that you can, so many that I can't name right now. It's just so many. But in my area, there are a lot of um, African American female mental health counselors that's coming up a lot now. And so you can reach out to those type of people that look like you, or just reach out to someone, period. I mean, if you're seeing signs or people around you that it's not right, maybe their depression is getting much worse, or their habits have changed, if they're having some kind of struggles, even people that have just recently lost loved ones, not not only just due to COVID, but just for anything, it's good to just, we need to communicate. I mean, the communication gap between our each other and our community is just, it's really broken right now. But I'm definitely grateful, because more and more people are starting to see that mental health is just as important in the Black community, and we're making strides, but it's so much more that we can do, and we have a long ways to go. The stigma around mental illness in the Black community is still there. It's been there for years, and it's not going to go away overnight. So it's very important to just research or look up on Google or go to like community areas, or certain organization or community where you can get that mental help that you need.
Gotcha. Perfect. Sarah, do you happen to have a copy of your book nearby that you can
Um,
show?
Actually, I don't. I just sold my last copy on
Oh, well,
hand, and it was my
congratulations on
own.
that.
Yeah, it was my own personal
Congratulations on
copy. Yeah, it was actually
that.
my own personal copy. I've been so busy working in the field, I haven't had time to order any extra copies yet. But it's available on Amazon, and you just look my name up, or you can look up Mine Under Troubled Waters. You can get it in the book form, or you can get it in a downloadable form.
Perfect. So I wanted you to tell us a little bit about your cover art, and that's why I was asking. But I know the viewers can see the
Okay.
flyer. So if anyone's watching and you don't know what her book cover looks like, definitely go to AAMBC Inc. Instagram, or Sarah's Instagram or mine, and you'll be able to see the flyer. And it is on the flyer. It's beautiful cover art. I wanted you to tell us about your concept behind the cover art, and maybe let us know, how you were able to link with the illustrator and what that process was like. The viewers, I'm sure, would love to hear that.
Okay, my mentor for that I work with writing this book hooked me up with a great illustrator, and the concept behind the cover is pretty much what Thomas, that's the main character, is struggling with in the book. He he has a noose around his neck because at the end of the story, his family or his enemies are trying to kill him, and then he has the book here where um he's pretty much torn between basketball, which there's a picture of a basketball, and becoming a mental health counselor for his autistic brother. So he's struggling with those two. So that's where the book and the basketball concept comes in. And then if you really notice, you see these little blue pills on the cover, and that's one of the ways, unfortunately, that he is coping to deal with his mental instabilities instead of just seeking the help that he so desperately he doesn't want to talk about it. And then pretty much the whole cover is with him being underwater, like his whole mind is he's just under troubled waters. I mean, and that's where the concept of the book comes from. He's just out there mentally, he's down mentally, he's seeking deeper and deeper into depression, just like he's seeking deeper into the water on the cover of the book. So that's where the whole illustrative concept comes from.
I love that, Sarah. And there's so many, people, especially within the Black or brown cultures, that really have a strong pull to artwork
Hmm.
and what it speaks to, as far as energy and just concepts and things like that. And I absolutely love your cover.
Thank
I'm
you.
so grateful, for this conversation. Unfortunately, we gotta wrap soon. It seems so quick, but we're definitely at that time. So if you would please share with us, how we can find your book. You did already mention that it can be purchased on Amazon, but also let us know how we can connect with you, Sarah, as well as Feel the Real Productions, guys. She's also a producer, and she's looking to turn her stories into movies or into plays. So definitely get with her. She's amazing. She's definitely
Thank
studied
you.
behind the camera.
Thank
So can you
you.
tell us a little bit about how to stay connected with you and how to purchase your books, as well as connect with Feel the Real Productions?
Okay, so you can follow me on Instagram. My personal page is Sarah at Sarah Carmel, and you can also follow look up Feel the Real, and that's REEL Productions. Feel the Real Productions. You can also connect with me on Facebook at Sarah Carmel McGriff. My book is available on Amazon, and I'm hoping, and if anyone wants to inquire about me turning their book into a movie, you can always email me at Sarah cmcgriff@gmail.com, or you can just connect with me through, personal, DM through Facebook or Instagram.
Perfect, Sarah. Perfect. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
There's so much in store for you. I already know. I know what you're working on, so I'm excited.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, AAMBC Inc., for always providing such amazing platform for, Black and brown authors and writers and literary professionals. We love you, and thanks again. See you next time.
And thank you for the opportunity. Bye.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It all starts with a spark. Like this thought or this vision in your head that gives you these ideas and these visions of who you want to be. And I can remember